Hello, dear viewers, and welcome to the second episode of Snot. Your favorite, irreplaceable, and always on-time sports presenter, Henry Snotson, is here. For you. Today we've got plenty of interesting tidbits and hot topics from the Snot League's fields. First off, I have to mention that some teams were so fired up in the first round that they went ahead and played their matches within it. This way, they left themselves more time to prepare for round 3. Well, what can I say? Strategy is everything. In the first match of the second round, the Relic Slan from Rockstars wore down the Samurai from Kamikazen, proving the superiority of the Great Plan over the Servants of Chaos. And with steady 2-0 victory, they tirelessly marched towards success. You could say those Rockstars had quite the punch. And we have a sensation here. Asaurus scores a touchdown again! What can I tell you? Should they even be scoring touchdowns? Isn't that borderline illegal? Who ever heard of such huge lizards running with the ball and scoring points? Our ever-complaining elves from FC Avalorna played their second match against the Electric Boogaloo Carnival. Their opponents, once again, had a clear strength advantage, not to mention the smell, yuck, and quickly started the process of brutally eliminating players through fouls. And as usual, the elves began their standard procession of complaints to the referee. Plot twist? It got them absolutely nowhere. The Nurgle circus performers took the lead, and things weren't looking good for the elves. Until Mr. Explody decided to play a prank on his teammates. And what a prank it was! His explosive surprise managed to kill 2 of his teammates and seriously injure another. Luckily, Tiny Jim, their team brute, was able to regenerate thanks to the powers of chaos. From the dust and smoke emerged Lionella Merci, who, carrying the ball like a lightning bolt, sprinted past the opponent's line to score the equalizing touchdown. In the second half, the elves managed to take the lead with another touchdown. Although their attempt to push the score to 3, one was way too risky, it almost cost them dearly. Fortunately for Avalornians, the circus jumper failed to catch the ball. So match ended with 2-1 for the elves, who before leaving the stadium made some pictures with the fans, as well as with the opponents. Coach Moranian and his Bill Bali Ballers are continuing their winning streak, this time claiming the Dead Rock Rumblers as their latest victims. The Rumblers were weakened by the absence of their injured ogre. They hired the infamous bomber Snot for this match, but he caused more chaos than help with his bombs. Seriously, what's going on with these bombers lately? You just can't trust them anymore. Snot's bomb actually broke up his own team's cage, allowing Brahim to easily get to the ball carrier. Moments later, Estalia managed to take control of the ball and force the clumsy orcs to make some dodges. Surprisingly, the orcs managed to defend against the counterattack. In the second half, the Ballers played their standard slowly forward game, combined with a sprint from the ball carrier when things got too hot. The half-orcs tried to equalize with a quick attack, but unfortunately for them, they were stopped by phenomenal Pietro Forzani, who holds 3 orcs all by himself. Match ended with a comfortable 1-0 for the Bilbali Ballers. What a spectacle we had this time, folks! A phenomenal doubleheader! 2 matches played almost simultaneously. First up, we had We Are the Pirates facing off against the phenomenal trees from Defajan Snots. I have to say, it seemed like the Pirates were quite tipsy from too much rum because they had trouble holding onto the ball. You'd think pirates would be used to seeing wood, but definitely not the kind that moves and, even worse, hits back. This time, no elves died, but several of them suffered nasty injuries and will miss the next game against the Bilbali Ballers. The Woodlanders were not satisfied with just beating up elves. No, they want also the touchdowns! Who would have thought that trees and fairies would be so greedy? After gaining a comfortable lead on the field, they were able to calmly deliver touchdowns on their unicorns. I have to admit, this team is really surprising everyone. After just 2 matches, they already have 6 touchdowns.
And most casualties inflicted.
And let me tell you, this is definitely not the end of their plays. So stay tuned, because this team is on fire! Well, not literally. The Woodlanders are proving to be a force to be reckoned with, and I can't wait to see what they do next against Dead Rock Rumblers. As for the second match, well, it was nothing short of bloody. The Redwood Riders took on the Citywood residents and went for pure violence. The Goblins started by brutally injuring 3 fairies. It didn't get any easier from there. But the Albionites refused to buckle under the pressure, even after the orcs murdered another fairy and severely injured a druid. They took advantage of a spider slipping on the pitch and dropping the ball. How can 8 legs get tangled up? Maybe it was all that blood. Anyway, the hired star player, Puggy Bacon Breath, seized the moment and scored a touchdown with a short sprint. In the second half, one of the druids started a solo run with the ball, but was stopped by a troll. Despite 2 fen guards coming to his aid, the druid got scared and ran straight into the stands. Oh boy, that's never a good idea. But this time, the fans were relatively merciful. The druid survives almost intact. The Goblins, after recovering the ball, decided not to risk any unnecessary clashes and quickly equalized just before the final whistle. Phew, 2 matches played at the same time really put a strain on our correspondence, but what wouldn't we do for the fans? And now, on to the next match. In the golden rays of the setting sun, the Chainlinks faced off against Al Nasser. The Sheiks started off rather sluggishly, searching for an opening in the ranks of the fanatical Sigmar worshippers. The first half was mostly a tactical tussle until Sheikh Kafir found his opening and charged forward, supported by one of his trusty dervishes. Walter Heisenberg tried to stop him, but unfortunately, his attempt was thwarted by the swirling Hakim. The shift in score and mounting pressure worked wonders for the Chainlinks as they powered forward throughout the second half, eliminating opponents one by one while shouting their religious chants. Something about burning witches and heretics. You know, their normal day-by-day stuff. The Arabs relentlessly attacked the ball, but every time it slipped from one of the Sigmarites' hands, it immediately landed in another's, as if the ball was enchanted. The Sheik rubbed his eyes in disbelief. Well, it might happen once, but several times in the row? I'm curious what kind of act of faith this could be. This was especially evident when Talim tried to pass the ball to his Sheik. It soared through the air, only to suddenly plummet straight into the hands of Thomas Metalis. The Chainlinks were back on the offensive. But time was running out. In a last desperate attempt, Kamir managed to stop the warrior priest from scoring, saving the score at 1-0 for Al Nasser. The Arabs are back in the game, while the witch hunters face increasing pressure from their superiors. But they seem to handle pressure quite well, so maybe they have a plan up their sleeves. Princes of Doom and Black Potatoes schedule their match outside of the round 2 time, but since both coaches agreed on this, they will be allowed to play it upcoming Tuesday. But that will slightly shorten their time for round 3. Now, let's address the elephant, or should I say dwarf, in the room. The Plobs dwarves were nowhere to be seen for their match. What could have happened? Well, we've got a few theories. Whatever the reason, the Plobs' absence certainly added a twist to the day's events. Their opponents were left standing on the field, scratching their heads and wondering where everyone went. And that will wrap this episode. Stay tuned for more Snot League and more Blood Bowl information. Bye!